All right, guys, so today I want to talk to you about project management. Managing creative projects is very crucial to have a solidified system in place, because if you don't, you're going to drop balls, you're going to miss deadlines, you're going to get late on payments, and these are all things that we've experienced in Butler, and we've very practically alleviated a lot of the pain by just having a solidified system in place. When you first get started and you're just on your own, it's really easy to manage projects on your own because you're the only person doing all the work. You know what it takes. However, when you work on bigger projects and you're working with bigger teams, meaning it requires disciplines outside of just yourself, you're going to really have to have your process solidified and nailed down. The way we do this is we have a waterfall project management methodology. Now, the waterfall project management methodology is just based off of a sequence of different phases. That's all it is. You got to just split up your project. It's one big project. You break it up into key phases. And each one of those phases has particular tasks that you have to do. Now, the key is once one phase is done, it's locked. You can't revisit it. Then you move forward to the next phase. It seems really rigid, but the reason why is because this methodology goes back to construction. You think about it, if you lay a foundation of a commercial building, you can't scrap it and just start back over. Once the foundation is laid, it's laid, you have to go to the next step. Then you have to start building the frames, and you have to start doing the electrical. You can't revisit those phases. And as creatives, what we like to do is we try to kind of bounce around. And when you do that, you're gonna get caught in revision cycle hell. So if you have a very particular, you could say rigid project management methodology, it's gonna save you a lot of time. It's gonna make you more efficient. You're gonna get payment a lot quicker, and you're gonna get the project done in a way that makes the client happy, and it's gonna be an overall better experience for the client and for you. So the way I explain it to clients is a lot different than the way I explain it to my team. The reason why is because I don't want to get too much into the weeds or into the details with my client. They're thinking high level. They don't want to really see what's in the kitchen, right? They just want the steak. They don't want to see how we're actually making it. But they do want a kind of a general idea about what our overall process is. So what I think is probably one of the most important parts of your project management method or system is the sales process. And so when I talk about sales, I'm talking about the very first step of client onboarding. And so when I'm in my sales meetings with clients, all I'm doing in the beginning is just learning as much as I possibly can about their business. So I'm not even really talking about the project. I say, you know what, tell me a little bit about your project. How did you come and find us? But I really want to learn about their business, what their overall goals are, and how they see this project as a means to achieve whatever goals they have on the other side. And so I ask them about their business, I ask them about their revenue goals, I ask them about a little bit about their competition, where they're going, how they see us fitting within that, and then I try to stay as long in the diagnostic phase as much as possible before we talk about our prescription. Once I feel like I've learned enough about who the business is and what they're trying to achieve, then we can talk about our process. Now I'm going to give you an example based off of a website. A web design. And the reason why is because web designs for us at Butler are some of our bigger projects, and the reason why is because it includes pretty much every member of our team. It includes all of the disciplines that are represented, whether it's UX design, graphic design, web development, copywriting and messaging, photography, video. Websites have all of these things. And so if we're working on a larger web design project, it really includes our entire team. And so what I tell the client is, okay, so based off everything you shared, I feel like we could definitely help. For us at Butler, we follow a 3-phase process. And the first phase is strategy. Everything starts with strategy. We don't want to touch one pixel. We don't want to touch one line of code, take a picture of anything until we really understand your business. Now in this meeting, and I'm talking to the client, in this initial meeting, I'm just learning in general terms, but when we actually agree to move forward, the very first step is a process we call discovery. Discovery is a half-day session facilitated by me with you and your key stakeholders. And this discovery session is just me learning as much as I possibly can about your business so that I could take those insights and give it to my team, and we could develop a solid strategy that speaks to everything that we're going to have to do. And for us, the method that we use is we look at 4 aspects of your business. I look at the business, the brand, the users, and the marketing. And so the business, this is really where we're just kind of getting to know your industry. We're getting to know how the money works, what your key products or services are, who your competition is. We just want to learn about your industry. And then once we learn about what you guys do specifically, then we want to put ourselves in the shoes of your users. Now, at the end of the day, whatever we create for you, even though we're creating it for you, we're really creating it for the people you serve. And so we'll build user profiles and we'll map out your user's journey. This is really just to help us gain empathy for the people that you're serving, because at the end of the day, that's the people we're trying to serve. And so we learn about your business, we learn about your users, and then the third thing, we learn about your brand. And this is really what sets you apart from the competition down the street. What's your unique selling proposition? What's your X factor? How are we going to write our copy that sets you apart, yet it makes sense for the people that you're trying to serve? And so that's where we focus in on your brand. And then the last set of exercises we do is I learn about your marketing. So historically, what have you done? What works? And then in the future, where are we going aspirationally? Because what we're designing, creating for you, specifically your website, this falls in the larger picture of your entire marketing apparatus. And so we want to talk about marketing and how this project fits in with that. And so that first meeting, that discovery session, it's about a half day. You give me about 2 weeks, and I'm going to meet with my team. We're going to go through it together, and we develop a comprehensive strategy that speaks to every one of those things. And so we're going to give some messaging samples, some design samples, a UX design, which means user experience. We're going to map out how users can interact with the website that we're creating for you. And once we get approval on that strategy, we'll go through a couple rounds of revisions if needed. Then I can assign my team to go on to phase 2. So strategies first. Second is creation. And this is where we actually design the things. We write all the messaging, we design and develop the website, we take whatever photos we need. We set up the marketing machine. We tie in any kind of tools that you might need on your website. And then we go through a couple rounds of revision, and then the last phase is phase 3, where we actually deploy. And so last round of revisions, and then we make sure we do user testing, we launch it, we monitor it, we train you and your team on how to take it over, and that's it. That's the 3 phases. And I tell them at that time, I always want to make sure that I talk about money. Back in the day before, I would be almost afraid to talk about money. It's funny because it's the sales meeting, right? So you're supposed to be talking about money, but before I'd be almost like ashamed to talk about money in that first meeting, and I'd really try to impress people with my proposals. And so I'd tell people before, let me sit on this for a little bit and come back to you with a proposal, and I'd try to win them over with this beautiful proposal with amazing case studies. But what I learned is people don't care about how beautiful these things are. They're going straight to the money and timeline area, and right, that's the 2 things they want to talk about. So those are the 2 things you have to talk about in that first meeting. So set expectations, map out your process, and then talk about money, what your budget is. And you could usually, and I'll just tell you this, 9 out of 10 times if a client's coming to me and they've never had the process laid out to them like that, and they had a particular number in mind, once I lay out the process and show them like this is all that it takes, usually the budget in their mind increases, and they know it's going to take a lot more money than they initially accounted for. So talk about money, talk about timeline. For us, something like that might take 10 to 12 weeks. And I'll ask them, is that the ballpark that you guys are playing in? Is that what you guys had in mind for budget and timeline that you allocated for this particular project? If no, then we can see what's flexible. Can we increase the budget? Can we extend the timeline? Can we reduce the scope? And that's where negotiation takes place. But make sure that you do that in the sales, not after proposals, or you're just going to waste your time and you're going to get really frustrated. So your proposals should just be a formalized version of what you've already agreed to in that initial meeting. And again, this is the most important part of project management, because you want to properly set expectations, manage expectations with your client straight from the get-go. And so that's how I explain it to clients. Once we make an agreement, and now a deposit is paid and I can assign my team, the way I talk about project management to my team is a little bit different. I have to go more into the details, and that's what I'm going to talk to you guys about next.